Sunshine's Corner, being brought to you by Quint and Richie Studer.
And good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome into the hottest spot in town. This is Sunshine's Corner, where purpose meets power and, of course, conversation creates change. Today, we open the door to one of the most important conversations that we should be continuing to have at all times, facing our nation and, of course, each and every one of us that's in our community. These things are top of mind that we're going to be talking about. And I'm trying my best to make sure I reach out to the younger generation to let them know that they need to join in with us. Because today I have a young man, Mr. Jonathan Green, who's going to be talking with us. He's a graduate of University of South Alabama, and also studied at the Southern University Law Center. Come on, man. That's what I'm talking about. Get those names out. Get those degrees behind your name. I mean, he is one that I call that is so filled with knowledge, so young, even when I met him when he was running for mayor. And this morning we're going to be diving into the issues impacting everyday Americans all the time. That's from voters to voter suppression, midterm elections here in Florida, candidates, President Trump, community organizations, activism, and so much more. Racism, which is at the top of the list of everybody what they're talking on right now. In a season where many voices are being challenged, being discouraged, or even trying to silence them. Today's conversation is about empowerment, it's about awareness, and of course actions. What does the future of voting rights look like? How do communities organize, how can they arrange for change like that? What role does all of this play in protecting democracy? You don't want to miss this powerful conversation because if you've noticed, please today, I want you to help me welcome this young man, Garrett Green, Jonathan. Thank you for coming in for me, love.
Thank you for having me, Sonshine.
Always. I tell you, when I first met you, because I love this, I'm trying to get the faces of the younger people, because we want them to know that we're not talking around them. It's all inclusive with them.
Right.
Because we have to have this thing together. Right on. So that we can win this thing.
Indeed.
You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And you know that fight goes on, because look at the work that you've done. I mean, I like the fact that you got all these law degrees and all this stuff. Young people, that's what you're doing, is take that education to keep that going. Yeah. With things how it is right now, Jonathan, why are so many Americans right now, you think, concerned about voter suppression and what they're doing now? How do you feel about that? You see how it's being targeted to try to stop us from voting? Yeah,
and I think a lot that the United States, and Sonshine, thank you for having me here, just first and foremost. I think where we are in the United States, people have forgotten basic civics. What it means, not in the aspect of just civil rights, right, but what does it mean to be a citizen of the United States? Mm-hmm. And in understanding the Constitution and fourth grade principles of civics. I remember studying in college Montesquieu. He was during the French Enlightenment period.
Right.
And he is the founding fathers of the United States, used his philosophy of separation of powers.
Of course.
To have legislative, executive, and judicial branches separated, so that way you did not have a king's tyranny.
Okay.
You divide the House, that way no one particular branch has more power than the other. It's the balance of powers.
Exactly.
So I think after elections, people become so partisan and focus solely on the conservative values or the liberal ideologies that there's no merge in the thinking when we have an election where now that person is our representative for the entire aspects of the United States.
Of course.
So even in that, how do we play the trump card? Mm-hmm. Well, if we know the tariffs are so high that we can't do imports and exports, and goods cost so much, and we're in a war that gas costs so much, that, and there is a saying that politics is war without bloodshed, and war is politics with bloodshed. Right. So in that, you shouldn't have old men waging war, sending young men and women to fight and lose their lives potentially, and the families here in the United States have to suffer those consequences.
But of course, that's a lot.
Based on the economics. And people don't understand the power of the Constitution in the sense of the Constitution has its power to govern citizens, to regulate commerce. Commerce is money.
Right. Why do you think that some of us so lack in knowledge? Why do you think that there is so much fear in just going ahead and doing something? Working together, because I think everybody see what's happening.
Well, the struggle continues, like you led with, but it's dangerous in the utmost. In being a leader, when I was younger, I was sitting around talking to my friends and it's like, hey, let's start organizing, do things that we're talking about. And once they're like, oh, you go plan it and let us know. And then it's like, all right, you planned it. It's like, oh, you planned it? Well, let us know how the event goes. They don't show up. People don't show up. And I had a friend of mine, he told me, he's like, Jonathan, you have the intestinal fortitude of an elephant because we want to join you, we're afraid.
Wow.
We're afraid. We don't want to put ourselves in a position whether we're being arrested by law enforcement, whether we're being gassed, beaten, taken to jail, going through the bail process, the due process of the criminal aspects, if they criminalize your First Amendment free speech right to protest.
Exactly.
So, and then the aspect where I said if they, we have to get out of the idea of police and the community and the community with police.
I see the word in there makes a whole difference.
Right. The police are in the community, so there should not be a distinction.
Exactly.
And so when you look at the rights of the average citizen, it goes to, we don't have the same rights as law enforcement officers. There's a law enforcement officer Bill of Rights. So being able to address issues such as ICE being in different people's communities, and people being killed or arrested and criminalized for exerting their First Amendment. And even if it's dissent, the idea of civil disobedience is to have ideas that don't go with the societal norm.
Exactly. I mean, with things like this happening, and all the things that you're talking about is what we are experiencing right now. But what I want to see with the younger, you were saying, well, I was younger. He's old.
30, I'm pushing 40 this year.
He's pushing 40.
I feel it.
Oh, I'm 39, okay. Listen,
right.
what I'm trying to say is this, it's when we see these things, like you said with the friends that you had, they would say, okay, put it together, I'll do it, then put it together, then they get afraid because they feel the unknown.
And the thing is, I don't want to be out there in danger no more than you do.
Exactly.
The thing is, if we don't, who's going to be the next leader? Who's going to be the next Martin Luther King? Who's going to be the next Harriet Tubman? Who's going to be the Marcus Garvey? Who's going to be the mind that sparks the next mind from thought?
Right.
And the thing is, if we don't have an environment where people who are ignorant to correct thinking, if a person in their thought verbalizes incorrect thought, we don't have a space, we only have a cancel culture, we don't have a space for that person to be corrected.
Okay.
And it's no point in me preaching to people who already agree with my philosophies. I want to go in my mediation practice when I was working and before I'm focused on my mental health and my health overall, just so I've been disabled, not able to work. In my mediation practice, being able to meet with Klansmen, with white nationalists, with people who have different thinking of me, I have to expand my humanity to people who don't see it.
Right.
The people who see my humanity, those aren't the ones that may take my life. So each of us have a duty to educate, but also allies and more so accomplices. White people who are open to freedom of all people need to advocate to other white people who are not.
I agree with you there.
It's not my job because I don't know your culture the way it's not
that
your
you know
job.
Your culture.
Yeah, your culture can't tell a black person how to be black, although that's a common
that
trend.
Makes me that irks me. When you're going to tell me, but you're not black. I got it.
You can empathize with my experience. You can't sympathize with it because it's a complete different experience.
Exactly. With you being such a young, outspoken, hands-on man, why should young people and minorities pay close attention to this year's midterms?
So the now is never the issue, although it is. If we are not actively engaged, and I know you mentioned voter suppression, the Supreme Court knocking the redistricting and being able for states to gerrymander. There was a political activist that said if people registered as independent, no party affiliation, you don't allow gerrymandering to occur because you can't identify the household. Just because you register,
that does not mean the way you have to vote.
Right. You're not voting for the independent.
That's right.
If there's only a Republican and Democratic candidate, it doesn't mean you're voting for that person. It means that the secrecy of the ballot, I never tell people who I vote for, because the secrecy of the ballot should be sanctity. It's your personal
view. That's right. That's why they have it so private that you're in this space by yourself.
So if you going in saying, all right, now I'll leave, and you're going in with shirts expressing who you're not, that's why we can't get along when we leave, because everybody know who you voted for, and that was the thing you didn't talk about outside the home.
I hear you.
Right.
I like that. I like that because, it's something else I think that's so important in times like it is now, but not just now, because we've been here, done that, got the t-shirt, but it's just United States history repeats itself. It's trying to do that again. However, what I'm trying to say, when you brought up the fact about when you go in to vote, that you don't have to have somebody knowing who you do.
You don't have to advertise
You don't have to advertise who you vote for, because that's your personal choice.
It's a secret ballot.
That's a secret. That's why they said you go in there, you right there, nobody know what you're doing, and it is private. But with that, what I'm running into, Jonathan, is that I believe with what's happening right now in the country, with all the things that are that's pointed toward us. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to talk about this a lot, because I believe that the only way we can get to a solution to get the word out, any way you find out something, you got to have a conversation. You got to talk about it. I'm going to invite you to the table, and I'm going to have you to have some meat when you come to the table.
Right.
But with the things how they are, some people, I believe, this is me. So many people say when they, I did this, when they voice and that's who I voted for. I don't think so. You're saying that because you went the other way. Because you don't want me to know that I already know.
That happens a lot.
That happens a lot. And I can look at a person and tell you who. That's just I've been living.
And one thing, I like your aspect of just coming to the table and having meat, if you can. You're not just coming to sit, you can join.
I want you to have a steak.
But I think the problem with us in the United States of America is we view equality as being able for everyone to enter the door, to come have the seat at the table already prepared. Black folks and people in general are not asking for already prepared table. No, it's not the welfare we're looking for, right? It's that you don't have a door for us to open. It's that we can go build our own building with our own door, with our own tables, and I don't need a seat at your table. I can bring my own table and my own seats, and we can sit next to each other.
Exactly, because I know how it feels when you've been invited to the table. Then when you get to the table, you feel like you're so out of place because nothing is directed to what you're talking about. Why am I at this table?
I have to conform to the rules of your etiquette to dine. My forks must be on the left.
Not what I came
on the right, and my knife and spoon on the right, forks on the left, and it must go outside.
You got it.
The
That's
inside
exactly
dinner.
what I'm talking about.
So if my etiquette at my table doesn't demand that, and I want to build a building next door to you that doesn't have those requirements of rules, why is my freedom hindered because I think differently than you?
Absolutely.
A lot of people think free speech stops for a person speaking when the other person talks, and now I just have to listen.
No.
But at the conclusion of your statement, in that due respect, I can talk again.
Exactly.
And my opinion can be different than yours. And when I'm done, you can talk again.
Exactly.
And when we're done with the entire conversation, we can go our separate ways and still not agree.
Exactly. It's okay to disagree, to agree to disagree.
Yeah.
But don't think you can dictate to me.
And then the thing is, if we get past the aspect of being able to have a hard conversation, now you start feeling the enlightenment. All right, you just taught me something I didn't know from my perspective.
That's the point I'm talking.
And now we get to a common mutual understanding in law, contract terms. You have to have offer and acceptance and the agreement to the
contract.
thing. So if your point of view is you don't agree with me, mine is I don't agree with you, but then we start having even a minute understanding of commonality, we can start making progress.
I agree.
If we're so hard stuck in our position that we never change, that's where we are right now.
Exactly.
And that's what can't be tolerated.
I agree. I mean, you see what this is what I think the type of conversation that we as a people need to have. And it's not about just you, because it's us. And I want that so badly. And now, what bothers me in my 39 years, that I see, it's painful. What's happening? I'm seeing the things, and I'll say this till I'm blue in the face, and that's gonna take a lot. Things that I've read about, things that I've been told, but now I see it's coming from under the cover. And with the younger generation, well, you all see that, and I know you read, you see it, because everywhere. How do you see that? How do you see the commonality now of racism that's coming out from under the covers so bold? With the younger generation, how are we handling this? How do you see that what we should do from the younger generation side?
So if a person who does not learn from their mistakes, they're bound to repeat it. Mm-hmm. And I know, so we have a generation that over 60 years after Brown v. Board of Education, or 70 years, we still have not come to a racial reconciliation, and it's because it's the elephant in the room. We don't have a space that is safe for people to ask questions, for people to learn, for it to not be taken offensively. And we have people who were children at a time that are now the elders, mm-hmm. that call the younger generation now soft and unable to handle certain emotions and things. But you're talking about a generation who could not share a water fountain with someone with a different complexion. Mm-hmm. So I don't think this generation is the soft generation. Okay. I think the generation who is unable to share in an equal way, the same way you're telling your kids to go to school and share the crown.
Right.
You can't share a water fountain or a seat or a meal that you're not eating from my same fork.
Right.
You're over there and I'm not regarding you the way you're not regarding me, and that's the problem. We're not regarding each other. I don't want a colorblind person. Wow. I want a person who sees my humanity because I have color. Exactly.
I like that. I mean, this is where I'm going, because, and I like the way you drew the analogy with the water fountains to get what it used to be, that we couldn't even drink from that. But I think, and as I see, when I see all of these things that I read about, that I see on the news, that I see that, and it's all over social media. TikTok is just going crazy. I like TikTok. But yeah, I'm all over TikTok. But what I'm saying is, though, with these things that are happening, I want, because you all are our tomorrow. You all are our leaders tomorrow. We can't hold it forever. Somebody else got the torch. And with what you do, you know you're in that realm. What are we going to do to make sure that everybody can get to the level, to get that mind capacity, that we can sit there from both sides and talk? We're going to talk more about that when we come back, right here on Sunshine's Corner.
I learned during my military service to train every day to fight and fight to win. If you've been injured in an accident, you already know one thing for sure. The insurance companies are going to fight you for every dollar you deserve. At Michelson Booth, we settle most of the cases we handle. But if the insurance companies choose to fight, well, we're okay with that too. If you've been injured in an accident, choose a law firm that's got the resources, training, and stomach for the fight. Michelson Booth, don't be a victim twice.
Nestled in the heart of Pensacola, Dorothy's is a one-of-a-kind, community-driven cocktail bar by Oasis, Florida, created to sustain vital HIV and STI care across the Florida Panhandle. Inspired by the Wizard of Oz, rooted in inclusion and dripping with character, Dorothy's is a welcoming space with award-winning Oz-inspired cocktails, food by Steel Pony Diner, and an unmatched atmosphere. Join us 7 days a week in downtown Pensacola, located directly across from Maritime Park and the Blue Wahoo Stadium.
Step into your hometown boot store right here in Pensacola, Florida. The largest selections of Western boots and attire, including our own style of custom Anderson bean. The boot store also carries a great selection on workwear from boots to fire-resistant clothing. When you're looking for authentic wear, accompanied with authentic service, show up at your hometown boot store where you're more like family than you are a customer. And remember, the savings and selection are found behind the big red boot.
At FPL, we plan for storm season all year long. We're strengthening poles to better withstand severe weather. We're clearing lines to improve resiliency, and we're constantly training teams to act at a moment's notice. Because we're always working, always preparing. So when storms do hit, you can count on us. FPL, working for you every single day.
And welcome back to Sunshine's Corner on this, I can't believe that it's Thursday already. I mean, this month is gone. Monday's a holiday.
Right.
Wow, time is flying. We are back talking about, really talking to the younger generation on the issues that we are encountered with today, because they are our future leaders, how and what it is that we should do and how should we handle them. This came in, you said something off air when I read this. You said, you should be voting for candidates, not their policies, not their parties. And if a person has to, if a person has to have their title on the ballot, then you don't know who you're voting for.
So I agree and disagree, and that's one of the most lawyerly answers. It depends.
Yeah.
So I believe you must study the candidates wholeheartedly. But you must know the policies they represent, because those are the laws that their policies, their frame of thinking, what they're putting out there to be voted as the candidate, they're going to take to the House or the legislation or through executive order if they're the executive officer. They're going to put those policies in effect. So you want to know, like Project 2025, which became Agenda 47, that was a policy. Now it's law. So
and we told him every day he was going to do it.
So you have to be aware of the candidate's policies, but there's a danger in identifying party affiliations, because it's not even the fact of being targeted. It goes to the lobbying on what's being voted for. So if this PAC, Political Action Committee, funds my campaign and funds all the Democratic campaigns or funds all the Republican campaigns, and the Republicans who took their money don't vote with the lobbyist agreements and laws, that policies they're putting up, they're not going to give money for your re-election. They're going to put a candidate who's going to vote their way and put so much money behind them that you're not going to get another term if you even get the first one. And the danger in the money from the PACs is that it buys the vote. If it's a big corporation that wants to develop, and you're funding the mayor's campaign, that goes into the permits, that once that mayor wins, how many permits they get approved, and turn a blind eye to any environmental hazards.
Okay.
Yeah.
So people need to go a little bit deeper than just that.
Yeah, because and being able to identify and so what people do, they vote Democrat, 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 Republican, Republican. But the thing is, that person may not be the person you need in there in the sense of the policies they're making.
Yeah.
So you have to study the candidates and know the policy they're going to have. But that marker, and the thing is, if you study the candidate without the label of Democrat or Republican, you're going to know what their policies are.
Exactly.
Whether they're conservative or liberal policies.
It's a good and a bad. Okay, what do you think that we're lacking of? Do you think we just go in because they have Democrat under their name?
Yes. I was contacted, but I'm not in a space to run a campaign to work. I was contacted to run in this election, and I was like, I'm not in the space. It's like, even just get your name on the ballot to give somebody the option if they
Right.
don't want to vote for the Republican. No, if I do something, I do it with the goal of winning. I don't enter something with the goal of failing.
Exactly.
And having to have this conversation with somebody with the audacity to ask me
you that.
No, I don't embark on something with the goal to fail. And if I have people voting for me knowing I want to fail, but I'm selling you the idea I can win, I can beat this person. All right, you don't have to vote for me. If you want the option to not vote for that person, leave the bubble blank. That's a protest. And the way you redress the grievance before the government is to go to the voting booth and fill in the bubble of who you want. Don't fill it in if there's no one. And if there's a write-in candidate, write it in. If you think you can do a better job, write your name in the thing. But you're not on the candidate list, so you wouldn't actually be able to win. But if you got more votes than that person,
do you think we need to educate our community more on the fact of how, not just because you are under that party, that you should learn more about who's running in that?
So even in all of my studies, I read Adolf Hitler's book. I read the books of the most abhorrent people and that's war philosophy. You must study your opponent to know how to beat them. So, and it's no different than the football team watching film. It's no different than a boxer looking at what the weakness is, who leans to the right a little more, who's heavy with their left hand, who uses jabs more than hook. Like, you study your opponent. It's the art of chess. So when the generals during the American Revolution came back at night and playing themselves in the tent, they're only moving one move a day because it depends on the battle that they fought. So if the other person won the battle, you move the other side. And it's a game, it's so strategic.
Right.
But
that's how it is.
Got to get out of the ignorance.
Why do you think right now voting access is such a major civil rights issue right now?
So if we're going to talk about the history you have to talk about the history in a sense that if these laws are being rolled back, we have to see, once they're rolled back, what was the law in effect before it took effect.
God, I hope everybody knows what's happening.
But understand that with the gerrymandering, the laws, it now dilutes where, say there was a black community. And I understand white people's argument. I've been saying this since I was a kid, because I always pose the question, how is affirmative action not reverse racism if a white person may not have access to this because a black person can, or whoever. But where does that stop then?
Right.
Because if we don't have to get rid of DEI. We can get rid of DEI because liberty and justice for all is in the Pledge of Allegiance. Liberty means freedom. Justice is fairness. For all is everyone. All is inclusion. So I don't think we need a policy on DEI. We need to enact the Constitution and give the unalienable rights to everyone. You can't limit my rights at the moment you don't like how I exert my rights, just because you're exerting the same right but differently.
Took the words off my lip because it affects them just as well. If you understand where I'm going. But the fact of it is, I'm saying, but what are we going to do now? We see, I understand, I know what they're trying to do. I see what they're doing. I know why they're trying to correct it, because if it's something that's not powerful, they're not going for it. There's something powerful that they're trying to stop, and we know what it is. So how are we going to get a lot of our younger people to understand, my vote doesn't matter? Yes, it does. Do you think your vote won't matter because this gas is $5 a gallon now and might be going up to $5.50? I mean, come on. Do you think by saying, okay, do you want grandma to continue making your decision because she's the one that's voting?
And that's an important aspect, because, for instance, there's about 30%, a third of voters vote who are eligible to vote. And if you don't like the gas prices, because you have to realize gas is higher, so it takes the truck getting from the farm to the store, higher gas prices to get it there, so that means you get it at the market. Being able to put people in a space where we are able to have cohesion in our thought, but also understanding these differences, that when it comes to voting, your ability to vote for president, your local offices, and the state offices, if you didn't want those gas prices, so we're in a war. The president can go to war for 30 days without it being declared war by Congress. If we vote for a president that doesn't engage in war, that's your vote going into that power, and your gas prices will be reduced because the oil prices aren't going up from a war that shouldn't be waged.
Exactly.
And then where does that go? If it's not just president, why do the other offices matter? Well, he has 30 days to go do those war tactics. Congress is supposed to convene within 30 days to either approve going to war or saying the president does not have the power to do what he's doing. So if you're not voting for the state federal official going to Congress to say, hey, the president can't engage in war, or to sign the war declaration. You have to vote and sign the war declaration. And if we don't have politicians going to do that, say no war or war, we need to vote them in or out.
Are they afraid? Because everything is nothing being stopped. Nobody, I mean, are they afraid? Are they afraid that they're gonna
The local community doesn't see the local communities don't see the immediate impact. You have to think microwave mentality. We want instant gratification. We want to see the thing that we're doing now. If I give you $5, I want the product I'm buying now.
Right.
I don't want to give you the money and it ship in 2 weeks and I'm out my money and I'm itching to get the thing. So when we vote, we want to see that change happen now. And when it doesn't, when it takes 2 years to get to the next one, and then I'm voting again and the last thing didn't happen, why am I voting for this person again and he never pulled off the thing he said the first time?
So that's where I'm at. I think that's the question where I want answers for when we see things like that, when they say that. But you got to realize, it's like I always say, the person that's coming in is also reaping the benefit from the person that was before. When he stepped in, he got the goodness from the president before. Now when the next one come in, he'll get the badness from this one that's in. So how are we going to educate people to get out of this mentality? And I understand because of the struggles, the things that we have come through. We got to take a break. Well, I want you to think about this when we come back. I understand the struggles. I see the history. I understand what they see, and I understand the fear. But we've got to get the fear out of this thought process, because it's going to take doing now. Talk cheap.
Right.
It's got to take some action now. Ladies and gentlemen, we're having a great conversation. Be a part of the conversation. 850-432-7768. You can call or text, and I'll answer your question right here on Sunshine's Corner.
For 75 years, we've been caring for families, creating jobs, and working to build a healthier community. This is your home, and ours too. We're honored to be the trusted partner in your care. Baptist Healthcare, here for you then, now, and always.
I'm Kathy Holsworth, Artistic Director at Pensacola Little Theater. Join me on the first Monday of every month at 7 p.m. for the Center Stage, where me and my artistic friends talk about all things on the stage and at the Clark Family Cultural Center. Join us, won't you?
Take a breath and step into something green. At Pensacola Seed and Garden, both of our locations are open 7 days a week, ready when you are. We don't just sell plants, we grow many of them right here with care you can see. And once you take one home, you'll find everything you need to help it thrive. Visiting from out of town? Discover unique exotic plants you can bring home, often for less than ordering online. Pensacola Seed and Garden. Grow something beautiful.
And welcome back to this conversation today with Mr. Jonathan Green. I appreciate him coming in.
Thank you, thank you.
We're talking about the things that's top of mind right now with everybody because of the fact that we are in a process of change. And there's something one of our former presidents said that I have used forever. Change is necessary. It may not feel good, but it's necessary.
It's the only
and
constant.
we are certainly going to need our younger generation to come on, step up to the plate. And you're going to notice here lately, I've got several coming in with me every week, so I can try to find out where they're talking, where they're coming from, how can we inspire. But as we were talking, I got two things, and I want to ask our viewers this today. When I'm talking something very deep and serious like this, are the things that are so, and this is why I say, are we afraid to voice our opinion? When I hear these things, when I hear this, I don't get very much comeback from the community. I want to hear from them. Don't tell me on the street when you see me. I think because I'm inviting you to the table. Let me hear what you say. This is how you put all the thoughts together and come up with a better one. You understand what I'm saying? Because I think that if the younger generation with the mature generation, yeah, I don't say older, mature, come together, let's put all of our resources together, thought process, let's talk about it. Do you not see how powerful that could be?
That is the exact power of the unity in community. And really, if people got back to the sense of community, we don't know our neighbors. We can't correct someone else's child even with just words.
Oh God, I know it.
And that's hard, creating an environment in a society that wants to be civil with each other, and we can't have the minimal civility.
I just heard what you said, because I'm thinking that you're not even 40 yet. But he said that you can't even say anything to a child, because when we were growing up, the community helped raise you.
My grandma friends and my mama friends,
they tell their butt up,
and then go tell my mom.
And then you go get, and then you get another one. But
Right.
but it was okay because mama trusted that person next door
to instruct you,
to instruct
correct
you when you're not, when she's out, you're out of her sight. But today, I think if we can get the mindset, that community, that closeness, that connection. I was listening to a gentleman that's a young gentleman that's a mayor in another city. And he was talking, and he said that we've got to get our young people the mindset, the togetherness, like the John Lewis's, how they stayed together no matter what. They stuck together. It wasn't about, oh, I'm John Lewis. Oh, I'm Medgar Evers.
It wasn't about the celebrity, it was about the work.
It was about the work. So therefore, and that's why I remember all of these names, these people, because even when you think about with Rosa Parks, that person, that same bus driver that he fought another woman before Rosa Parks.
Right.
We don't have that connection now. And what I'm trying to get everybody to realize that we need that.
Mm-hmm.
That we gotta look out to support, to help each other. Because if not, I think that the separation that's being taught, that's being pushed, is what we are leaning toward. Do you not see what the picture, what I'm saying?
Most definitely, I see, and especially when it comes to the aspects of voting and so just looking at local area, it's hard for people. Our community, the median income is $35,000. We have a mayor that went in the Wall Street News Journal, and said we have the most $1 million homes in Pensacola's history. Who's buying the $1 million homes if the median income is $35,000? The largest employer is the Escambia County School District, and one of the largest private employers is Navy Federal. Everyone's making on average about $35,000 plus or minus some, but the median income is $35,000. So the person who is living check to check, the people who have more poverty to deal with, who the prices at the grocery store affect most. If you are getting a job that the median income is $35,000 a year, but then you have elected officials, for instance here, one of our county commissioners who was not supposed to be on the aspect of the library board director hiring, her assistant was
I was reading
facilitating who's being hired, and they weren't, the commission's not supposed to be on the process. It's supposed to be a neutral, open application process, and then saying that a person who has managerial experience doesn't have managerial experience, so you can get the commissioner's friend in. And the aide sending an email to the mayor's office and his office removing a board member so they can have him appoint another board member to get the approval for the person they want who applied, even though they weren't the most qualified.
Wow.
So when you have a level of corruption in a good old boy system here like we have in Pensacola.
When you say good old boy system, talk to me about
it's
that.
It's not what you know, it's who you know.
Okay. I love it.
And the good old boy system here with the affluent monies and powers to make things happen are going to hire their friends. They're going to get the bids to the contracts for the public-private partnerships. Remember, PPP is public-private partnerships, not the loans from COVID. Public-private partnerships are what conservatives mean by small government, big business. If you reduce the government doing the services, that's what Trump is. Get rid of the Doge, get rid of the government services. So now if everyone creates a business and associate with a mentor to help you thrive, and we're business owners, we're contracting. We're not getting employee money.
Right.
You're getting the contracted money, and you can go hire people. You create your economy. Playing the Trump card, you have to be okay with starting your own business, because business is money, money is commerce, and commerce is regulated by the government.
Right.
So if we're not willing to start our own businesses, to contract with each other and go get public-private partnerships to fund these things, that's how businesses have so much money, getting the money from the government, from the tax dollars, doing the RFP, getting your Sams and Duns number to get eligible for federal, state, and local grants, and that's where the money is. But we have people who don't want to start businesses to even apply for the money that can be granted and not paid back.
Wow.
If we start understanding economics, money, and we all want money, but don't nobody want to understand what money means. If you start saying commerce and the Constitution, you lost me. We gotta don't act ignorant.
Amen. Wait a minute. Somebody just said, they sent me a text. You blowing them up, baby. They said, I love the conversation. Very interesting. That good old boy system is still ongoing.
Oh yeah, it never stopped. That's why the laws have to change. So if you roll back DEI and go back to Brown v. Board of Education, and if that's rolled back, we're in Plessy v. Ferguson. So we're in separate but equal. If you're not, and think about this, Brown v. Board of Education was decided in 1954. A year later, in 1955, they said, oh, we don't know how to enforce it, do it at all deliberate speed. Deliberate speed has never been here, so in 70 years, you're rolling back something you never enforced or complied with, so that means we're still separate but equal.
Exactly. Do you see the passage? Teach it to him, baby. I mean, no, what I'm saying, he's telling the truth, because these are the kind of conversations I want to have, because I know this is what's happening, and we have got to educate ourselves. Knowledge is power, ladies and gentlemen. Knowledge is power. When you start to get the knowledge you need, then you can move forward in a more positive way to overcome some of these things that we're talking about that's being shoved out because of, I like when you say the Trump card.
We got to play the Trump card for it. If we cannot do imports and exports, the reason our domestic suppliers and manufacturers don't have the goods is because they were getting the raw materials from overseas. If we have to produce in the United States, it's made in America, we need the businesses. So before Trump won, if he said he was doing all these tariffs and you were in Florida not building the produce and agriculture that's in South America that we're not importing now, you should be building the industry that is no longer being imported, exported. Do it domestically, so that way there's an avenue domestically. And that's the economy.
Exactly. That's why I build our own Wall Street.
Right on. It's the new Black Wall Street. If you play the Trump card and create business.
Now, you see, ladies, how many times have I said this? And I said, we got a younger person thinking like this. We got to get in that mindset that if we build our own Wall Street, you know it will be powerful. That's why they burned down the first one.
The black dollar has $3 trillion circulated every year.
Every year. I just read the other day, we would be in the top 10 of
if we collected our money.
Yes.
If we pooled it together.
Pooled
the black
it together.
dollar stays in the black community for an average of 3 days. So when you're paid, you cycle it a couple businesses around you, and then it goes to another community. The white dollar stays in the community for 27 days.
Come on.
Out of 30. The Asian dollar stays in the community for 33 days, which means they have 2 to 3 days they don't spend outside. So an entire month they only spend in their network is the average. So we have to have group economic. Even if we change from 3 days to 7 days, we grow it astronomically.
Absolutely, absolutely. I see the passion in your eyes.
It's worn me down.
Oh, but you see, these are things. Please, if you want to be a part, I want to hear from you. If you don't want to talk, do like these people are doing. They're texting me. 850-432-7768. That's the number to call. This is how I'm inviting you to the table. I want you to bring your piece of pie so I can taste it. But that's how we move forward, putting it together. So we can, if we have to, think about a new Wall Street.
Right on.
Right down here.
Yeah. And that's the thing. There were black Wall Streets in every community. The interstate systems throughout the U.S. Caused a lot of the black communities they ran them through the prominent black communities in history. And then also, for instance, the Tan Yard was our black Wall Street. Scotlandville and Baton Rouge, where I went to law school.
Okay, now the Tan Yard was where here? I'm not from here, so I've heard of the Tan Yard.
We're in the middle heart of it. My grandmother grew up on Liberty Street across from St. Joseph, where the courthouse sits. That was houses. My great-grandmother had a brothel in the red light district. On Liberty Street is Zaragoza. There's Zaragoza with a Z and Zaragoza with an S. The second one was the original Liberty Street, and that was the red light district. John Sunday gave my great-grandmother the property for her corner store where the Chappie James building sits. Right. The state annexed eminent domain them and gave fair market value for the property and built those structures there. So St. Joseph sits. John Sunday had all the that intersection. Okay. He owned all that and gave my great-grandmother her start when she came to Pensacola from Baldwin County in 1918. 1918. My family's been here over 100 years and going to St. Joseph's ever since. The first black Catholic church in the state of Florida, because we couldn't go to St. Michael's down the street. Black folks could not use Palafox to come downtown. They only had to use, white folks could only use Palafox. Black folks had to use Railroad Street. Do you know what Railroad Street is? Tarragona. Tarragona, that was the segregation. So black folks had to go down Tarragona, down Railroad Street. The black community called it Railroad Street.
Unbelievable.
Palafox was for white folks.
Well, I just do say, I'm an Alabamian. Well, listen, but you take me, I tell you all about Alabama. But the fact that I've learned a lot, and I'm saying what we're having these conversations because of the fact, the things that you're talking about, how we're educating people on things, on the importance of you being heard. I often tell my counterparts, my friends, my younger people, whom I love with a perfect kind of love, is the fact that in order for us to get to the point of making change, first you got to be registered. Second, exercise your right. No, let's roll this back. Learn who you voted for. That knowledge, man. Get to know who you are supported. Are they really what they say they are? We're going to talk more when we return. 850-432-7768 right here. The Good Old Girl Network. Sunshine.
My name's Kelly McLeod. I'm the owner of Bella Magazine. Bella is a source of uplifting and inspiring content for the women of Pensacola.
I think the magazine is just so thoughtfully done. There's a lot of attention to detail. The stories are really good.
You've got seriousness, you've got fun, education, fashion. It just encompasses everything.
Women are multidimensional, and so is Bella.
The Emerald Coast Utilities Authority's state-of-the-art materials recycling facility processes recyclables for communities throughout the region, lowering need for more landfills. This highly efficient recycling service accepts glass, paper, cardboard, plastics, aluminum, and more. But we need your help. Please make sure your recyclables are clean of garbage, food, and liquids. Also, please remember that plastic shopping bags, foam products, or yard waste are not recyclable. To learn more, go to livegreenecua.com.
From the efficiency of American natural gas and the dependability of nuclear power, to the strength of Florida's sunshine and the flexibility of advanced battery storage systems, we leverage a diverse mix of energy sources to power our growing state, ensuring reliable, low-cost power for your home or business whenever you need it. FPL, working for you every single day.
Well, I think it's all about local, and I'm a big believer in local. So I think anytime you can carry a message out locally, it's important. And I think it's anytime the person that delivers the service can also deliver the message, which is unusual. You have the people that actually deliver the project doing the talking, and I think that's a huge difference, and really makes a huge value difference for the consumer. So I'm really just so grateful that we have this local opportunity with Blab TV. My name is Quint Studer, and I am Blab TV.
And welcome back to the hottest spot in town. This is Sunshine's Corner. I'm telling you, it is hot up in here today. But listen, Jonathan, we got another text message.
Right on.
Well, there's two more. One's, I guess he don't mind if I call his name. Stefan says, here, we can't get ahead because we have a hold you back mentality. I don't want to see you get ahead of me. Darn. Shame too. Think about that. I am at work and I have to go train. Oh Lord, look, he want to watch the rest of this, so we got to go to work. They can't finish up. We're at the top of the hour now. We only got a few more minutes. But let's hit this question here that came from Stefan about the, that that mentality. No, when I see you growing, I'm gonna pull you back. I call it the crab mentality.
And that was the exact thing I was thinking. Everyone is okay seeing people do good as long as they're not doing better than them. Once a person starts doing better than you, then you start seeing a person's true identity of what their inner thoughts are.
Exactly.
In that crab in a barrel mentality, I've always liked the aspect of it that people always mention crabs in a barrel pull each other down, but no one mentions the barrel's not the crab's natural habitat. Someone put crabs in a barrel to have to survive in a way where they're not helping others or self. It's only survive. So Maslow's hierarchy of needs.
I see what you're saying. When that crab is there, okay, I got you.
I got to focus on survival. I need food, air, water, my freedom, whatever that looks like. I'm not worried if I step on you, if that means step on you to get out to the thing I need, because I can. If I'm under the surface of water and I can see and I can't break the surface, and that's why you punch a person drowning, because they're going to pull you under if you're saving. So it's that same thing. The crab's trying to pull the person, but who put the crabs in a barrel? Knock the barrel over, do you have the same problem? When the crabs go back to the ocean, is that even an issue? If everyone's in their own space just being equal crabs?
No, they don't, because they can get away and go.
They're going to go where they go, and it's not.
Well, why is it though, Johnson, that we feel like this, and this is not just in our community? I don't want you to see you grow.
But so it's a trickle down mentality. During slavery, the most affluent white person and the least affluent white person was still deemed better than the most affluent. But it's not a deem of who's better or not. It's the fact that you started dividing humanity with racial identity. That was started in like the 1800s with IQ testing. That's not a real thing, because if you have a tree as the test and you tell a goldfish in a bowl, an elephant, a chimpanzee, and a giraffe to go climb the tree, the chimpanzee will win. The elephant might walk it down, but he didn't climb it. The goldfish never had a chance.
Your analogies, man, you taking me there. I mean, but I love it so because of the fact, I can't believe we're down to 3 minutes. I mean, when we're talking like this, it just goes by so fast. And listen, these guys that just sits there at work, and this is the fire department, they're at work, but they're watching us. And now, listen to this, ladies and gentlemen. You can get this show, and we'll come back again this afternoon at 6 o'clock. Watch it, share it, and then be a part of the conversation every day. But I want to thank you for getting up to come in with me, because we've touched a lot. And I think that with the analogies that we have painted these pretty on these canvases, right? People can see what we have to do. But now it's not about talking about it anymore. It's about being about it.
Right.
It's time for us to stop out. Okay, well, no. I'm tired of you hearing, and I say this, and I love you with a perfect kind of love. I really do. When you see me, oh, I wanted to share something. Do it. What are you afraid of? You may have something that you can put together with what we're talking about, that we can compile pieces of yours and pieces of mine and put together something that's going to really work.
Faith without works is dead.
You better tell me again. And when you put all those ideas together, that means that we come up with a better solution. And I say to our viewers, please vote. Please vote. I thank you so much, Jonathan, for being the person that you are when I met you years ago. For still that person that has that depth of knowledge that you go back and you research. I want our people to learn how to research. Reading, man, I mean, when you get to reading, I can sit there and fall asleep with the book on me, with my glasses on my head, and wake up at 7 o'clock in the morning, my glasses still on my nose. But the fact of it is, you need to read to find out more. Thank you for what you're doing.
Sonshine.
I mean, I love you with the perfect kind of love, and I think you already know that.
Right on.
Okay.
Thank you.
But ladies and gentlemen, it's been a fantastic day. Again, I say now, this show will be played again this afternoon at 6 o'clock. Do what you got to do, but make the change in a positive way. I've got to go, but I'll leave you as I do every day. Never, ever, ever, ever lose your focus. Always remember, if you keep God first, I'll guarantee you this, you're going to be a total success. So until tomorrow, for another day of sunshine, know that I love you with a perfect kind of love. Keep shining while I'm gone. Go out and tell somebody you love them and mean it. Thank you. I love you and I mean it.
I love you. I love you.
Oh.
Sunshine's Corner, being brought to you by Quint and Richie Studer.